I'm nervous.
Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 39-year-old from Cardiff, Wales, a staple of the Cardiff minor hockey program, but is best known for his time captaining the Sheffield Steelers and Great Britain's men's team with Sheffield in the EIHL. He's played over 1,000 games, won a Challenge Cup, another one with Cardiff, 4 times was a playoff champion, and 4 league titles with Great Britain. In the World Juniors was a bronze medalist with the Great Britain men as the captain, a 3-time silver medalist, and back-to-back gold medalist, climbing all the way to the Pool A with the big boys, and is widely known around the hockey world as the best human to ever play for the Sheffield Steelers. Welcome to the podcast, Jonathan Phillips. You didn't freeze, did you, when we just started? Oh, there you are. You're back.
Little technical error there. I think it was my Wi-Fi, maybe.
Oh, that's all right. Well, hopefully it doesn't happen too often. So did you hear that intro at least? Because we're live. We're
I
doing it.
did. I did, mate. That was very nice.
Okay. Well, I get into how we know each other. And I guess it's mainly the Devils versus Steelers when I was in the league for a very short period compared to you. But I guess it was 2008 was my first time playing against you when I was a Bietigheim Steeler. We came for a weekend. You were already the captain. And I can't believe you are still the captain now. That's a long time ago.
I can remember those games against them. Were you there when we went over to Bietigheim?
No, we came to you and played in not the big arena, the little one.
Maybe it was the year before then, because the year before we went over to Bietigheim, and I was unreal for like a preseason thing. Whew.
Nice
Pretty
town,
good.
eh?
Yeah, it was real.
I
The
spent some
nighttime was
time in
great.
that town. Yeah, they have a few establishments.
I remember
uh,
walking around that place. We were trying to find somewhere to go, and I think it was like 11, 12 o'clock at night. And we were like, oh, this place is dead. There's nothing going on. And then within the hour, it was like things were just beginning. It's like, oh, here we go.
yeah, no, you gotta know where to go or talk to people. But it is a bit of a small town. Okay, the other way we know each other though is my mates or buddies. Depending who you're talking to. But all the guys that played on GB with you, Bouncy, Richie, Mizey, Bachi, all of those boys always raved about you and always talked about their time with GB. So that's why I knew I wanted to have you on. But the main reason was what you just did for Matthew Myers. That I was sitting in my sauna early one morning and watching you guys play on TSN. And I'm watching, I'm going, Jesus, when did Mizey become the captain? Why is he wearing the C? And then the announcers explained to me that you had given it up to him for his 100th game, right?
Yeah, it was. I think we were due to have our 100th cap on the same game, but the year before, he missed 2 games because of a blister on his foot. So he had
Oh
this
my,
rotten
Matthew, a
blister.
blister?
Exactly. So he was. I remember him saying before we went to Latvia, he was like, "God, miss out the first 2 games so that we can do it together." So I thought, "Nah, you can have the C instead. I'll get mine, and then you can have yours."
Well, I thought it was really cool that you did that for him because to wear the C for, I guess, your country or I guess a few countries really, Great
Yeah.
Britain in general. But that must be pretty special. And that I guess it's tough for him because he would have never been able to be the captain because you always were. So it was nice of you to let him do that for once, eh?
Yeah, no, I remember him saying that he'd never captained a team, and um, I just thought, 100th game is something special. He's one of my best friends. I've known him since we were kids, and I mean, Mizey, he's a leader through and through anyway. So, you know, it, I suppose I was just the lucky guy who got to wear the letter, I guess, over the years.
Well, yeah, you're both leaders, but yeah, everybody raves about both you. And congrats to Matthew on his new deal in Nottingham. So I'm looking forward to having him on once he gets settled.
That's it.
That's a good signing. He just wins everywhere he goes, right?
He does. He does. he's made a habit of it. That's for sure. But I mean, you can see in the way he plays, can't you, that he's he's going to do whatever it takes. The raging bull.
Yeah, and he's just a teammate, right? He'll do whatever it takes to win. I guess kind of like you. So, next question: where and what are you doing now?
So I'm in Sheffield. I'm sat in the office, which it feels like a sauna because it's red hot today. The kids are about to go to hockey. But yeah, no, we settled up in Sheffield. Not We didn't plan on it. It just kind of happened when we moved from Cardiff. It was kind of I think I was 24, 25. Obviously wanted to get on the property ladder. And I mean, the prices in Cardiff were kind of crazy, and we couldn't really afford that. So we thought, well, we'll buy a house up here. And we only ever signed 1-year contracts in Sheffield. And 15 years later,
is that right? That was one of my
yeah.
questions. I was a 1-year contract guy my whole career, but I thought it would be totally different for a guy like you.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, and let's be fair, it's only 2 weeks notice in our deals anyway. So whether you sign a 1-year or a 5-year, it's only 2 weeks. So, but no, only ever 1-year contract. I think the 1 year I signed a 2-year when I had my testimonial there. But yeah, I just love what we were doing here in Sheffield. And as soon as you start having kids and they start settling down, then they get their mates and football teams and hockey.
So that is a question. How old are your kids? What do you got?
I got 2 boys. Oshin is 12 and Albie's just turned 11.
And they both play hockey.
They both play hockey, both play footballs. I think we're down the rink Monday to Thursday. Football on a Thursday too. So yeah, they're leading pretty busy lives.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah, it gets busy. I know. But that's why you head out to your shed when the kids go to bed. Okay. Actually, one of my questions was where do you spend your off season? But because I knew you're from Cardiff, but basically you're full time in Sheffield all the time.
Yeah, my mum ended up moving up about 3 years ago. So we still go back and forth to Cardiff, see friends and aunts and uncles and things like that, and cousins. Not as much as I would like. I was actually down there. I went down when they played Mannheim the other day. I took the boys down because they were still on their school holidays. But I thought, well, I'll take them down. They can see the sights, and met up with Phil Hill, another one of my best friends, and took the kids paddleboarding down Barry, the beautiful sights of Barry. So
Barry Bados.
Barry Bados, yeah, he's changed a lot since I was there. I didn't even know where I was going.
Yeah, it's like the amusement park, like on a nice beach, right?
Yeah, it's all really nice down there.
Yeah, it's a great spot to take the family, folks, if anybody's wondering. Okay. Now, the other question, we got some random questions. Actually, I guess we should keep going with where and what are you doing now? So you're in Sheffield and you got a new season starting, eh? And I said you're 39 years old and you're still doing it.
Yeah, we're just about to start. I think we start next Monday. The guys are just starting to come in now. So we've got ice time this week in the mornings for the guys who are here. So yeah, but I just love doing it. It scares me to stop. I love competing and I love kind of pushing my body to see what you can do.
I totally understand. I wasn't really into pushing my body in training camp. It wasn't really a thing I enjoyed, but I enjoyed last Wednesday when I tested myself and did an interview with Batchy at 6 a.m. And then that was with coffee. And then I had one with beers at night at 9 o'clock and I tested myself to see how busy I could be in a day. And I thought it went fine,
Nice.
I got through it. I just test myself in different ways now,
That's it. You got to find your ways.
You got to find what challenges you, right? No, I think it's great. You're still doing it. I know it's scary getting out of the game. And obviously most of us all wish we were still doing it and being in the locker room. I guess I found what the next best thing for me is doing this. So I guess not all the imports would have flown in yet or any of that. And like, how is it all going to work with quarantines and all that bullshit?
Yeah, I think there's about three or four imports just flown in, and then I think the rest kind of drip feed over the next few days. But I think, as in Canada, just come off, it's just gone onto the green list, I think. So I don't think they have to quarantine. They just need to do the, is it the day 2 and day 8 testing, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. I've stopped paying attention to it all. It drove me nuts.
Yep, me too. I have no clue. I don't even know why I brought it up. Okay, so then let's start with some random questions. Okay, and one of them is, if you ever retire, are you thinking of being a foot or hand model? You have any idea who that would come from?
It's probably going to be someone like Bouncy. If I could use my right foot, then maybe. If I could use
So
my
do you
right
have
foot,
nice
the
hands
left.
and feet or something, or what's this about?
I've got a bad toe, one
really?
bad toe, and now I get this label of I got 2 bad feet.
What is it?
Uh,
Is it
yeah,
a big toe or a little toe?
it's the big toe. It is
Like
big.
really
It
big?
is. Well, it is grown a shoe size. I'm now an 11 in my left and a 10 on the right. But like the bower bumps on the back of your heels from your skates.
Yeah, like the spurs, like the
The
guys get like
spurs.
a golf ball that grows on the back of their foot, and then it's like bone though, right? Like it turns
That's
into
it.
bone. You have
Yeah.
that on your
So
toe?
on my toe,
I've
yeah.
never
Yeah,
seen that on your a
I
toe.
I need to. I can't have any space in my skate. I have to be crammed in there. So I wear. I'm a size 10 shoe, but I
Do you
wear
think
a
maybe
seven and a
that's
half
why it's
skate.
happening? Because you're
Oh,
cramming in there?
it's definitely the reason why.
Why don't you let your feet breathe, man?
I've tried. I just can't have it. I can't have any space. They need to be jam packed in there.
You're willing to grow a gigantic toe to have tight skates. I was all about comfort.
That's why I play with speed because when I skate, I'm just like ow, 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 just
Geez,
screaming.
I'm more like I'm trying to sit in the rocking chair out there, you know. Oh, that
Yeah,
is wow, okay. I didn't know you could get those on your toes, and it sounds kind of self-inflicted, but maybe you
yeah,
should get bigger
it
skates. But
definitely is.
I guess you got
I
one
know.
skate bigger than the other. That's a neat stat. Okay. Here is the next random question before we get into your career. When going out to collect your medals, should players wear skates or go out with their A game boots on?
I was pushed.
What's that story? Can we
I
get a background to that?
we were. It was the Continental Cup, and we just made it through to the super final,
In France, perhaps?
and in Grenoble, yeah. And it was a trip from hell. Like I think I made a fool of myself like twice already. I think the first one is a bit of a long story, but the first one was we were playing Grenoble. I think we were winning 3-2 or something. They pulled the goalie. The puck goes to the point. I blow the D man up. I get a breakaway, block the shot, get a breakaway, blow him up. On this breakaway, when you just say, I'm just going to slide this in. I went to slide it in, and the puck starts veering off to the right, goes in the corner. We get the rebound, it goes in. But when we get back to the hotel, it was on the news, and in French you just hear, "Oh, Phillips, catastrophe," and it was that place. I'm like, "Oh yeah, great." And then at the end of the tournament, we got the bronze or something, and our coach Matt Sossi, he was like, "Right, we got to come back for the ceremonial face-off. Have a beer. Do not get drunk." I was like, "Okay." We came back absolutely steaming drunk, and we were ready to go out. Salzburg had just played Minsk, I think,
So
and
basically, you're saying you guys had already played. You guys realize you've won. You're moving on, but there's still another game to be played.
there was still another game to be played. So, and at the end of that game, it was the
Then they
ceremony and
announce
whatever.
who wins, and so you guys have already won, and you're getting after it.
We hadn't even won. We were like, this was the super final, so it
Well,
was
you're
we were
no,
against
yeah, to
Salzburg,
get to it. I get no, I know, but you had
yeah,
won that round. You're going the next
yeah,
round, right?
that's it. So we were hammered, and we go to like let one of the young guys go on the ice first. The building at Grenoble's full. game's just over. We tried getting one of the young guys to go through the penalty box first, and then we were going to leave him out there on his own. But the woman caught onto it, and so I was like, okay. So I went to go on, and as I step on the ice, I kind of stopped and looked behind, and she like shoves me in the back. So I step on the ice, but she's like dumped all the water out from the water bottles from the penalty box.
So it's slippery.
So I go flying, and my A game is drenched, and the boys were just howling. I was just stood there like, oh my god! But they reckon I slipped.
You had your nice shoes on.
I had my nice shoes on. Yeah, my pointy
Navigating
shoes.
Lieutenant, Bayfield Brewing Company. Yeah, that is hilarious, though. I would have loved to see that.
I was definitely pushed.
Well, you're saying, yeah, that's almost like she assaulted you.
She did assault me.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, how did the super final go then? You obviously didn't win because it wasn't on your notes. What happened there?
No. Yeah, but that was it. I think Salzburg ended up winning it, and we got the bronze or something. I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, here we go. Let's get into your career now. I don't only have a couple more random questions as we go here. You know a lot of the same people I do. For us, never really talking to each other.
That's it.
Okay, what was Cardiff minor hockey like in the late 80s and 90s? And what's it like growing up with Dees?
All these. It was good, actually. We were lucky because back then, I think the Devils would have like 3 or 4 imports per team. But there was always a pro who would come down and run practice. So for us, we were really lucky that we had a professional on the ice all the time, and who would kind of take us through our training, and then we had this, a guy called Peter Smith, who was kind of a big influence on all of us Cardiff boys who kind of grew up around then. Put a lot of work in with us, but we had a great time. It was such a good place to be, and such good people down there. And I think Dees pretty much lived at the rink. He was either public skating or playing, and
still does
getting up to mischief. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What rink was it? It was before the BBT. Were you in where John Lewis is now?
That's it. Yeah. So we were in where John Lewis was, and like what a location that was. It was right downtown, and it was perfect.
Yeah. No, that would be a perfect spot. But anyways, the new one's nice. The bay's nice. But okay. Here's the next random question. Before we transition into pro, like to know about a bench clearing brawl in junior against Peterborough.
This is probably from DC. Yeah, I actually didn't play that game, but I went up. I think I hurt my groin or something, but I was on the bench, and it all kind of kicked off. And I think we've got video of this somewhere, but it all kicked off. I'm trying to think, we'd have been 15, 16, and one of the vivid memories I've got is Dees literally laid on top of someone with his knees on this guy's arms, held back like this, just pounding this guy on the ice. I was just on the bench dictating who should go to who.
And that's what he said. He said you were injured and you had to stay on the bench, and you were organizing who should go fight who and how to fight them and what to do. Yeah. And you were like the director of the fight.
I was like, so-and-so's getting beat. Go get him.
Oh man, you need a guy to do that, but it also would have hurt to not be involved in it, and be helping your brothers out.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I get it, but that's why you got to help any way you can. That's how I got into pregame speaking, because I couldn't play. But Dee said that you were the captain, the team went undefeated, and you guys were the tits.
Yeah, we were good. We had a good team, and as I said, I think the coaching that we got back then, it was just, I don't think all the other clubs got that. So, I mean, anyone can teach, basic hockey drills. You can search it on YouTube or whatever. But it's just them little pointers that you need, isn't it? And of professionals,
it could go a long way, yeah,
massively. So. I think our team was just lucky that we kind of had that. Well, we had good people and good people kind of helping us.
Okay, so then what's it like transitioning into pro and finding a home? Because I got it written down here. You played for the Basingstoke Bison. You played for Cardiff in the Super League a little bit and the Milton Kings.
Yeah, so I think I was at 15. I'd left school. I started training with the Devils full time. I got like a part-time job in the afternoons, and then the year after they signed me. So I mean, that was unbelievable. That was, I've been watching them for so many years, and you're kind of a little bit starstruck almost because you've watched them since this high. And it was the Super League. Obviously, everyone knows the story how that kind of went. There was just too much money going
I
around.
actually don't, and it's never been spoke about on here. Someone was telling me that there were hardly any imports, and there it was like former NHLers that were making like big money. Is that right?
It was huge money, and especially, I mean, you're talking back in I think it started in '96, and it was, bigger than money. I think it was more money than what was around now being paid out, and
And that's when
I
money
think
was worth more.
that's it. And I think the year Cardiff won the Super League, I'm sure their budget was like £1 million in wages. It was crazy.
They're not recruiting me then.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So we after the Super League kind of went, I ended up going to. I think I went on a two-way with Basingstoke from like Christmas onwards. So I'd play on the weekends with them, and then if the Devils played midweek, I'd play with them. So that was good because the BNL back then in our league was, I think, 8 imports. You have to have 8 imports and 8 British guys, which was a kind of perfect mix.
Yeah, because then you get then some British guys can get some power play time and some penalty kill time and get out there and get developing, right? Because the Super League you're talking about sounds like how would you as a young Brit get any opportunity, right?
Exactly, and there was none. Given I was only 17 at the time, I think you'd play if you were you play if the game meant nothing, but it was full of AHL, NHL tough guys too, power forwards and things like that with a bit of skill. So if a game was going,
tough to play against.
yeah, and if a game was going wrong, then they didn't put you on because you'd get killed. And
Yeah.
right, so
Right. No, when I was an adult and I was playing against those guys, I felt like I was gonna get killed. And I was like 23 or 4. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want to play against them at 17. But yeah, no, it makes sense so that league, I guess they were spending too much money. Then that happens, it folds, and then it's the EIHL then, right?
That's it. And then I think back then there was some problems with the owner and whatnot, and then everyone kind of left, and so I went to Milton Keynes for a year. It was a bottom place team. There was 8 imports, 8 Brits, and a chance to play kind of power play PK, get a load of time, and so went there and really enjoyed it, and then went back when the Elite League was formed, then back to Cardiff.
Right, and then you get to move home. And it looks like you played 3 years there, and that's like I can't guess one of the original eras you'd call it, because I always see who the fans in Cardiff like, through social media and whatever they put out there from the past. But I guess 3 of the guys I've heard of quite a bit is Sacratini, Thornton, and Matulik, right?
Yeah.
Those guys are like legendary. So you played with them?
Yeah, I played with them. So, they were there in the Super League days, and then Sacratini and Matulik came back for a few years in the Elite League. Great people, unbelievable professionals, and really kind of took their time to help us out as young guys, really.
Yeah, and you need that, right? Especially if you're not getting much game time, you need those pros that are willing to help kids out, right?
No, massively. And it's like at that age, your confidence can be shot pretty quick. So, you just need someone there just to, so it's almost bring you back into line of like, hey, you're 17, you'll get your chance. Just, settle down, keep working hard.
Well, it's
And
kind
that's
of
all you need.
sounds ridiculous, but like my son's tryouts are coming up and we're in a small town, so it's two ages together, right? So he's going to try out as a December birthday against kids also a year older. So they're going to be a lot bigger than him. He's a little bugger anyways. And if he makes that team, then he probably will be, near the bottom half of the team just based on size. But if he doesn't, then he'll probably be the guy on his team and he'll get more confidence and I don't know. I don't even know what's best for him, right? Because do you want him to, but then he's like 8 turning 9. It's like, does it really matter? But it's like, do you want him to be the guy or do you want him to be the bottom half? And it's kind of strange because I don't even know what's best.
That's it. That's it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I went to Milton Keynes. Really was you know you've seen it, you've been in a situation where you're kind of nobody and you learn your trade and whatever, and now you get a chance to not be the guy, but you get a chance to play a whole lot more and be an important cog in that wheel. And I think that's important. I think a lot of kids need to realize that they need to do that more now. Go somewhere where you're going to play. You can't just turn up. In this league, for instance, can't just turn up to a Cardiff or a Sheffield, Belfast, Nottingham, and expect to play top minutes.
Unless you're like Liam Kirk, right?
Unless you're Liam Kirk and you lead the World Championships.
Yeah, no, but you're right. That's absolutely right. Because I can't imagine. I like talking to Batchy the other day. He had gone from US Junior B, which must be pretty brutal. He went from that straight to the EIHL. And like for me, I'm 10 years pro coming to the EIHL and he's coming from US Junior B, right?
Yeah. I know
It's
it's crazy.
Yeah, but the way those guys do improve playing with better players is crazy, right? Like that batch he fits in by that first year. It shows the potential if you get around better players, right?
Massively. I know Davy Phillips always said when he came back from playing in Rockford in the A, he noticed the difference in his game playing in Rockford or training in Rockford than when he was sent down to the coast. He said you raise your game, you raise your levels to whatever you're doing.
Yeah, the people you are around kind of push you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where are we? We had the brawl, we did that. Now you're in Cardiff, so I want to know the decision to you became a leader. You're an assistant captain already as a young buck. I think it's 05, 06. You're an assistant captain in professional hockey. So you're obviously a leader at a young age, but what's it like deciding to leave your hometown? Like you're a pro hockey player for the team you dreamed of playing for. You grow up watching them, and then you become one of the captains of the team, and then you leave.
Yeah, it was a tough decision. It took a long time to kind of decide, but it was at the time we had a coach, Dave Whistle, and he'd gone on to he'd gone to Sheffield, and we used to drink beers together when he was the coach. He'd be leading us on the nights out and things, and so we had a good relationship, and so we were talking throughout the year, and he just kind of said about coming up to Sheffield, and I kind of brushed it off at first, but then the more I thought about it, I wanted to get out before I kind of hit that comfort zone. With being at home and everything was easy. I'd never moved out really, other than the year in Milton Keynes. I just wanted to kind of push myself and step outside that comfort zone. And I thought, if I want to play for a long time and get better, then that was the move that needed to be done. So I decided to leave, and I think that was the last year in the old rink
Okay, so you
where
never,
John Lewis is there.
yeah, you
Yeah,
never
so
played in
no,
the
I
big
went in
blue
the
tent
tent.
as a devil.
I didn't. I didn't.
No, I was always curious about that one because, like, when I come over to the UK and I see, like Ben Davies is now back in Cardiff, but he left for a while. Bounsy's from Sheffield and he's playing in Cardiff. You're from Cardiff playing in Sheffield. I'm like, man, these guys just, it's bizarre. But I understand becoming a man, you want to kind of move away and spread your wings and do something different and challenge yourself, right?
That's it, and it's them life experiences, isn't it? And you want to enjoy it as much as you can. And it was, yeah, I suppose it was just, I wanted to leave before I fell into that kind of trap. I was
Yeah, well,
actually offered more money to stay in Cardiff, and I remember there was an article that came out as soon as I'd left, and I think the headline said, what was it? Phillips leaves for love, and it was saying that I'd met a girl in Sheffield, and so I was like, she's from Cardiff, she's from Caerphilly. So it was, God knows where they got that from, but yeah, and I didn't go for the money because I was offered way more to stay.
you got so at that age in your life, you get offered more money to stay in your hometown and you leave for less money. And
I,
you're with your wife now, and so obviously she has to make the move too. So she was obviously on board with moving out of the Cardiff area.
yeah, yeah, she was on board, and I mean, with the money thing, like I always knew that in this country, you're not making a load of money. You're not retiring on it. Every summer you're still working. As soon as you retire, then you go in. You need to step into another job. So I always had the view of, since a young age then, of what difference does it make if you're making an extra £50 here or there? It means nothing. I wanna just push myself as far as I can go and you know enjoy it.
Yeah, no, and everybody has those big decisions to make because those decisions of where you sign for a hockey season, you don't really think of it as a hockey player as you're doing it, but as you start unfolding these podcasts every week, the decisions guys make of where they sign drastically impacts where their life goes. And obviously for you, that decision that summer of '05, I think it was,
Hmm.
or 05, I think, right? But like when you
Yeah.
make that decision, like that changes the course of your life because now you said your mom's moved up to Sheffield, your kids have been are raised there, like changes everything.
Massively. Yeah, massively. And we've got a nice house up here now, so who knows, well, we probably still be in Ely. I'm not sure if you ever drove down to Ely when you were in Cardiff.
No, I'm not sure where that is. I didn't know all the areas names though. I just knew how to get around. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then you get to Sheffield and you kind of like, when for me, I always had to feel my way onto a new team. I couldn't really be Wally first day, I had to wait like a little bit and then show them I could play. And then like, I'm not just a goof and joking around. Like,
Yeah.
you got to ease your way into a team. So what was it like for you? Because basically you go there and then the first year you're already an assistant captain, and then by year two you're already the captain.
Yeah, no, we were kind of lucky. It was Sheffield were kind of, I suppose they were rebuilding. There was I think there was three of us who actually came up from Cardiff. There was me, Phil Hill, and Regan Darby. And then the other guys. I mean, we played against them for a few years, so you kind of know each other to chirp and whatever. So, and you know what the hockey world is like. You just, as soon as you step into that place, everyone's fine, and it's
Just
like
like
you've been
having a
known each other years.
just like having a podcast.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, no, it was all right. It was a fun time. I think probably the easiest thing is we were all around that same age. So it was just, I think the first question was like, right, when are we going out? Let's go.
Yeah. And it does mean a lot when you pick a team and where you're going. Like at least in Germany too, like when there's only 4 to 5 imports, being on a team where guys are at the same kind of life, uh, whatever, what am I trying to say? Step in life. Like, do they have
Yeah,
kids?
yeah.
Are they young? Do they want to go out? Or are they going to be home with their children? Or are they older and, they're going to show up at the rink an hour and a half before practice to get away? And, like everybody's at a different stage. And like when you get on a team, when you have a few boys that are like right in your wheelhouse, it can change your season, right?
No, massively. And we were lucky that Jason Hewitt and Mark Thomas, some of my closest friends and best friends, and we seem to all get married together and have kids together. Our kids are all the same age, so yeah, we've had a great ride.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's awesome. And you guys were all on that team together for quite some time. I had written down contract negotiations because I wanted to know how long your longest deal was, but you already answered that with 1 year deals. That's craziness when you're like
Yeah.
Mr. Sheffield. But what's it like then? Like, who do you negotiate with? The coach?
Yeah, he was always the coach. I'm trying to think. Maybe back then it was Michael Connor was the GM. So I think the first years it was Michael Connor, and then I mean we've gone through so many coaches here in Sheffield.
That was one of my questions. How many coaches have you gone through?
I think it's about 9. I think.
And,
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure it's 9.
and that's like, I think it says a lot about you because for me, there were coaches that loved me. There were coaches that didn't, it's like my song. I'm not for everyone, but like when, you need coaches to want you and that you've been wanted by the new coach 9 times. Like that says a lot about you and what people say about you. And that's like when I ask people some questions for today, it's like, yeah, he's the best guy ever. And then the coach comes in and hears that and he's like, yeah, okay, I got to sign him.
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I think that's what's probably kept me playing. If I really think about it, this long and being able to play, because as I said about being in Cardiff in that comfort zone, I suppose the same kind of thing should have happened up here in Sheffield, being here this long. But when you play for nine coaches in 15 seasons, then it's pretty much like going to a new team anyway. You've got to, you're constantly having to prove yourself. I mean, and you should always do that anyway.
But you're right. When
Uh,
a new coach comes in, you have to find your role with that coach, right? Every coach is going to put
exactly,
you in a different spot based on what they see, right?
exactly.
Yeah, no, it would be a kind of a grind. I actually like in Bietigheim, I had proven myself to I think 2 coaches, and then the third one came in and he was being difficult, and I just didn't have it in me to try and prove it to another guy. And I was like, I am who I
Yeah,
am, man. Like if you don't like it.
yeah. One difficult one. It was. I mean, nice guy. I think if anything, he was maybe just a little bit ahead of his time. He was very kind of X's and O's, and it was. But I think for the league then, it was just a bit too much. But a fantastic coach.
Who's that?
But Doug Christensen.
Okay.
But great coach. I think he's coaching in the coast now, and he'll go far. He'll do well. He was very high kind of hockey IQ, and yeah, it just didn't seem to fit for one reason or another.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. The more coaches you meet and how you used to care so much what they all thought of you. And then when you get older and you kind of see that some of them were good dudes and some of them just were into their X's and O's and just really weren't that good of like the way some coaches treated players that I saw, not just to myself, but there were some real douchebags out there back in the day.
Yeah, oh yeah, all those old school ones, man, they were scary. We had Chris McSorley. I was telling the kids this the other day because a game came up on Free Sports or something. It was the Swiss A League, and Chris McSorley was coaching. I was like, oh, he used to coach the national team. He was the scariest man I've ever been in a room with. He was frightening. He could make anyone cry. He was that scary and intimidating.
And this was the head
But
coach. Was
that's
that scary?
yeah. It was Marty McSorley's brother, but he was just a
Thresher,
scary,
Belgian Whippet.
scary human being.
Andrew Lord could make me cry by just looking at me sometimes with his like he would just look so hurt by what I had done on the ice that it would almost make me feel so sad I'd want to cry.
Oh Lord. Loda would only shake hands properly if you guys won. If
Yeah.
you didn't win, then he'd give the look away, and you'd be like, just look me in the eye, like
Yeah,
just
I know.
shake hands, man.
Yeah.
Game's over.
Yeah, we all worked as
Grow
hard
up.
as we could. Shake hands. I understand. No, but he was as intense as they got, and some people can handle it after and shake hands, and some people, I guess, can't. I didn't know that, but everybody has different experiences, right? Like I would have gone through the handshake line and shook everybody's hand and been like, "Yeah, good game," and then you don't even
Yeah.
realize what else goes on sometimes, right? And that's until you have a podcast and people start telling you this stuff you don't know.
Well, I think that it changes slightly, but I think that respect between the Sheffield and Cardiff, because I mean, it is a big rivalry now. Is a battle of the kind of the trophies, and I think the respect has always kind of be there after the game. The games are always pretty nasty, but then after the game, like everyone kind of spoke like, "Oh, great series, great, good job, well done, unlucky."
Well, that's the hockey world. That's the way we're wired for the most part, or at least the guys I have on here, right?
Yeah.
Wow, this thing doesn't sound good. Can you hear the background noise there? Headsets have I can hear a background noise. Anyways, okay, moving on then. I got a question for you. This is another random question. What is the Gord Baldwin locker room story?
God, Baldwin locker room story.
You know?
The only thing it could be is this from Simsy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Simsy used to come down if we'd win, he'd come down in the room, he'd pop his head through, and he'd just say, top job, boys, and whatever. And he'd come down, and it was beginning of the year. Baldy didn't know who this guy was, and Simsy comes in and pops his head in and says that. I think Baldy just kind of looked around and just went, gave the old security kind of comment. But for some reason, Simsy took a real kind of like, but I could see his head just like tilt ever so slightly and like catch eyes that it was Baldy. Baldy looked away, like he didn't give it a second thought. But I could see in Simsy's eyes, and I can't remember who I turned to, and I just went, "Oh, Baldy is fucked. He is gonna get it for the rest of the year." And he did. Like Simsy, any chance he had to call Baldy out, he would call him out. And I'd be like, "Simsy, why?" He was like, "Well, he said that. I'm okay to come in the room." And I'm like, "Settle down."
Oh man, and that guy didn't even know who he was.
No, he thought it was just some random guy coming in, But I think it was Mark Thomas's testimonial, and they did like a roast of Mark Thomas, and Simsy got up and he used his like 15-minute slot just to roast Gord Baldwin instead.
Oh, geez, that's yeah. Well, sometimes somebody says something that pisses you off, right?
That's it. That's it.
Okay, and then I guess you won 4 league championships and 4 playoff championships. Anything sticking out as like the best? The one that sticks out the most? Did you come back from something, or like the best party after?
Oh God, it's been a lot of parties just normally on a Monday night, but
mandatory Mondays or Monday Fun Day?
We used to have a mandatory Mondays.
I had Monday Fun Day.
Did you? We did have we had a Thirsty Thursdays actually in Cardiff.
Oh yeah, that's testing yourself if you got a game on Friday.
Yeah, Vother and Brad Voth and Jared Adams lived in the brewery quarter just above the Nando's.
Yeah.
So we like, why they put them there, I don't know. So like Thursdays we'd go out for Thirsty Thursdays, and we'd end up back in there till like 5-6 in the morning. And then we'd be on the ice for practice at 10. It was mental.
No, the old school hockey back in the day in like minor pro, like I guess the UK league, Europe, like man, guys used to really push themselves, did they?
They did. But the good thing was the coach was with us. The coach was out with us too.
Yeah, you don't have to feel bad if he's there as long as you,
No,
right? But you
that's
better
it.
show up to play, right?
And that was the thing. And I think that was one rule that we always had was like, and even like, don't come on the ice acting hungover, or just once you step in the rink, like
It's time to
it's go
work, and
time, like
yeah,
have some respect, kind of thing. So, which everyone did. It was.
I miss those days. What's it like now? You're still playing. What's it like now? What's it like in the UK league now? Do people still have fun, or are you guys like just cold tubs, protein shakes? I guess you were probably doing that the whole time. That's how you played till you're 39.
No, I've only just got into the proteins and stuff. I ain't doing a cold tub, but I don't like cold water. That's
It's
bananas to
horrible.
me.
It's
Absolutely
horrible. Your
ridiculous.
nuts go right up into your stomach, and you're like, "What am I doing here? Like, why are we doing this? This isn't making me happier."
No, like put some Radox in there and nice little rubber ducky, and I'll jump in. But with some warm water, but I ain't getting in. I don't like it. It's way
Yeah.
too cold.
Okay. I
Way too
respect
cold.
that. Thank you.
It's no, I think is the professionalism is obviously. I think that's just sport in general now, though, isn't it? In the way of the world, it's obviously grown. But yeah, I can't even do the nights out anymore. I can't wake up after a few beers. So I just, especially with the kids and having to do all their stuff, there's no way. There's no afternoon naps to get over anything anymore, is there?
No, there's no afternoon naps.
I miss that.
Yeah, I guess you're still into physical exercise. I don't really get tired from that anymore. So I'm surprised you're going into a training camp again, man. I can't imagine. I can hardly put my shoes on.
Yeah, I like it though. I like working out in the summer, and that's when I know I'm done and ready to retire. Is when that kind of May June comes around, and I'm like, I ain't going to the gym today.
Yeah, and the
And
drive's
I haven't
gone.
got that. But yeah, and that's what the one thing I always said to Sheffield was, you'll know if I'm done, but in the summer, because I'll tell you I'm not going to the gym. I'm done.
No, I think it's incredible that you're still doing it. I mean, most of us wish we still could be, right? And yeah, like the friendships you make, the people you meet, like you're gonna have a whole bunch of new guys showing up that you've never met before, and by a month from now, you guys will be best mates, right?
That's it. No, definitely. And you meet so many different types of personalities too, don't you? And I think it really sets you up for the outside world where, you think of how many different personalities on a yearly basis that you meet, and it teaches you how to get along with that personality.
That's exactly what it did for me. Like to understand other cultures, to understand people come from different backgrounds. They were all raised differently than you. Like you don't know where they came from. And yeah, like it definitely got me ready for the real world because like now I can, for my real job, I can talk to people, I guess, all over the world via Zoom, kind of like what I do at a
Yeah.
podcast. I just don't talk about hockey. I talk about something different, but and it does it. And then for you, you've been a captain for this long. Um, I know in the real world, maybe sometimes people don't realize how hard athletes can work, and like for yourself, how hard you test your body and want to be driven and be the best you can. In the real world, that translate. Whatever you do next, you're going to be great at it. You're going to be a leader. You're going to be running the team in no time because that's who you are. That's what you've been as a hockey player. And but if I had to guess, are you going to get into coaching?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's never really took my fancy, and I think I would help out. I think, but yeah, I think it'd just be nice to kind of concentrate on the kids and watch them, because I think as a coach, there's less security than as a player. At least you can kind of do something to as a player to get yourself out of a funk. But with a coach, you're relying on everybody else and everything falling together, right?
Oh yeah,
So,
being the
and
head coach isn't like the people that sign up to be a head coach for their career and like especially with children and everything, like yeah, there's no job security there. Like you don't know, and then a lot of it'll depend on the budget they provide you with, right?
exactly. So, yeah, and To be honest, I don't think I'd be great at it. I really don't. I don't think
I always thought
my.
the captains and leaders would be the best ones, but it's also
Yeah,
reading people and being able to get along with everybody, understanding the different personalities, right? Like that's
yeah,
what I like about coaching my kids team is like every kid's different, right? You kind of talk to them differently and see how
yeah.
they react and get to know
That's
them,
it.
right?
I think I could do that. I enjoy going on with my boys, and when I can, just to kind of give all their teammates. And as I said before, it's just them little pointers, isn't it? It's the little tips and
Well, it's yeah,
uh,
like
and
stick on puck or like yeah, there's so many little things that like if kids are skating around with their stick up in the air all the time, like
mm,
if nobody tells them to put it down, it becomes a habit, right?
that's it. But I mean, I'm sure you heard of the British backhand, but they were on yesterday on practice, the kids, and not. I don't think one of them put their stick out to receive a puck on their backhand, and I just thought that's why none of us can receive a backhand pass.
Yeah, nobody's telling you like have the stick
No,
up the ice and you take it on that side. Yeah. No, you
that's
need,
it.
and I find it interesting that like the kids that grow up seeing the EIHL like yourself, like you guys become good enough to play in that league. You're driven to make that league, right? That's what your goal is. That's what you're trying to get to. And I think having Liam Kirk around may help kids strive for something different, right? Because if the kids don't see someone else do it, it's hard to picture it and really drive to do that, right?
Massively. And I had this conversation about 2 hours ago. Actually, there was someone called. They were doing a story on Kirky from Arizona, and they were kind of asking Liam has what that has done for British hockey, and that was the answer I gave. Was before that people were striving for the elite league, but now coaches can actually tell kids now, like, this is possible. Look what Kirky's just done.
You can see it.
Like,
Yeah,
strive for that. Aim for the top.
exactly. No, I agree. Okay. Other than that, I wanted to know, we talked about the Cardiff rivalry, but what are your favorite rivalries in the league with? Is there any players that you and the guy just haven't seen eye to eye or um yeah, I'm thinking personal right now. Is there any players that like have really pissed you off over the years?
I think Lordo
I could see
playing
that.
against Lord.
I could see that. hmm
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
total respect for him. I think what he did in Cardiff, and 100% respect for him. But yeah, he pissed me off. I think, well, we ended up fighting once, and he's got to be 60 pounds heavier than me. But I just,
How'd
when
you
you just think,
do?
not too bad. It didn't last very long. It was a couple of swings. I think it was. We ended up. We were talking by the refs bench there in the big blue tent, and I don't know. He was with that belittling feeling, and that's the one, that's my biggest pet hate. And I just thought he was like shoving me in front. The crowd's going nuts, and I'm thinking, I'm going to snap. So I
Yeah.
just thought, fuck it, I just went for him and got a couple in. He got a couple in, and we went down. But
Yeah, no, I could see him like definitely being very irritating and all of that because I hardly played any shifts with him. But then like you'd be in the corner battling and he would be talking and yelling the whole time and like just going a million miles an hour. And I'm like, just slow down, man. Like, how am I going to
yeah,
pull it out of this pile if you're trying to talk to me? Like, shut up. I'm waiting for this to happen so I can pull it out and take it to the net. Would you stop
yeah,
talking?
yeah. Should we take a time out? Should we take
Like,
a time out so we
and
can
he's
talk?
just going a million miles an hour. And then we get to the bench. He's like, why didn't I? And I'm like, dude, I don't do it that way. Just slow
Oh God,
down.
yeah.
Okay. That's good. Good answer. That was a good one. I like that. So, what about out of the 9 coaches? Were there any that you wish you had longer?
Oh God. I think I think Ben Simon was unbelievable when he
He
when
just,
he came
you
in.
know what? Just a fun fact because this is all UK listeners, and when I have guys on from North America that didn't play in the UK, sometimes people don't listen as much. But Chase Pearson, who just came on, is playing for Ben Simon in the AHL. He's going to play in the NHL this season, folks. So you could get to know him before he plays for the Red Wings. And he's playing for Ben Simon in the AHL. And he said he's a good coach there now.
Yeah, he was. I think he was the first, because I'm trying to think how old we'd have been when he came in. Probably 20, 28. So I suppose quite old, really. But he was the first. That's when things started to change for like the nights out and the mandatory Mondays. It started to like rein in a bit. But
started getting a little more professional because he was, right? He was an AHL grinder for years and he was a pro. I played with him. He was my teammate.
Yeah, and just like he could have come over and just kind of did whatever, but he led by example every single day, and he, like I think the shit show he walked into in Sheffield at that time was hard enough without playing, and I remember the first shift he went on and absolutely one of the biggest hits I've seen, and we were all like, oh, okay, this guy's here, and he wasn't the biggest guy, was he?
No.
Then and but yeah,
one of the biggest competitors, right?
Massively, and I think he was the first person to really teach you what it meant to be a professional.
Yeah,
and got us on that ladder.
Yeah, for me, my way of knowing him was I went to the AHL as a rookie, and he was one of the vets on the team, and good guy. And like you see those guys in your hockey career that are just deep down, they're a competitor. They're as competitive as they get. Lordo was the same way. And yeah, like he was, he could be a little extreme at some points, right? Of the competitive side. And then Benny was the same. He was just as competitive deep down in his soul, right? Like he was going to scrap for everything. And I could see him being a good coach.
Yeah, no, definitely. And he, I hadn't spoken to him since the day he left. And then I think when we stayed up in Pool A, like an email came through and like congratulating us, and I just thought that was nice. So many years later, it was nice to see.
Yeah, no, you guys making it, which is kind of where we got to get into now. Is you guys making it to Pool A? Me personally, like I know most of you guys, like that's why. It's weird. I know people in Canada aren't going to get this, but when the World Championships are on and you guys are in Pool A, I'm not cheering for Canada. I'm cheering for you guys. Like, honestly, like when you guys are playing them, I think it would be the best thing ever if you guys could win that game. And like, I am cheering for you guys, and what you guys have done, I really think they should make a movie about. If they can make one about Miracle on Ice, they can make one about you lads.
We always said, because we nearly made it by some chance years ago. It was before the formatting had changed. So I think Kazakhstan had to beat, or Ukraine had to beat Kazakhstan in regulation time, and they ended up tying the game with like 6 minutes left. So it meant we won silver or something like that, and we didn't. And then we were so far away for so many years. But we always said, like, when we make Pool A, there's going to be a Cool Runnings too, and like it's going to be the boys. But it was unbelievable, and still now it gives you goosebumps just thinking, like.
Well, you were on the ice when that goal was scored too, eh? Like that's that poster I made you. Or Lee in Cardiff, Freeman Designs makes the posters for every episode. So shout out to him, because I've made him work pretty hard this year. We're on like he's made 73 posters now. But that picture of you going up to Benny Davies after he scores that goal and being on the ice for that moment for your country or for Great Britain, like what a time what a memory, eh?
Oh, it was just unreal. I mean, that game was like such a roller coaster of a game anyway, like the 3-0 down, and then we get it back to 3-3. And it was the shifts just before that goal. Like we turn it over from the face-off twice in a row, and there's like grade A's, like Bouncy, like somehow stops the puck, like 2 grade A chances. We thought the game was over. So me and Benny went on, and I just said, just push it forward, just let me get in.
It's like the minor hockey play, like push it forward on the face-off.
Yeah.
In your own end.
That's it.
Yeah.
But me and Westerling always used to do it in Sheffield. If on the kill, if I noticed the D-man was a little too far over to the boards and not in the middle, I'd say, just send me on a race.
Yeah, no, I saw it happen, and I watched it on TSN, and I really was so proud of you guys. It's quite the accomplishment. And who do you think would get a tramp stamp to play Bouncy if there was a movie?
Oh God.
Are there any Brits that could play the part? Like, somebody's going to have to talk like him too, right? How are you going to make a movie and talk like Bouncy and have a tramp stamp?
I don't know. It's gonna have to be someone off a soap or something, like off an EastEnders for Bouncy. And
I don't know, you guys. It might be like a big movie. It might be Disney, right? We might get some kind of big name.
Yeah, that's a tough one for someone to play Bouncy. You might have to just get him, because I don't think there's anyone else like him. You might have to cameo.
But like for me, it's been so much fun to watch you guys, because like for my story is like when I play for Cardiff and then I stay late to finish my MBA. When I'm writing my thesis, I'm actually, me now, folks, I'm in Eli Jenkins in Cardiff Bay, and I'm having a couple pops while I write my 9,000 word paper, whatever it is. And I asked them to put the game on TV, and I watch you guys play in the World Championships. I'm watching my friends play in the World Championships, and I'm like, this is really cool, right? And you guys were playing in Division 1B, and you're playing against like Korea and all these other teams. I'm like, oh, it's still cool you're playing for your country. But then you guys lose, and then you lose again, and you finish second both years. And I'm like, And then I move home, and then you win gold 2 years in a row, and now you're playing Canada, the US, Russia. Like, it's wild, eh?
It was mental. And our dressing room was next door to Canada's in Slovakia. So when they were unbelievable with us, and kind of just seemed to get on with them really well. And after, I think they were playing just after us, so they were there watching our France game. And then when we were coming down the corridor, the whole team had come out just to kind of greet us, and like they were all hugging us and things like that. And I was the last to come down, and that Kyle Tourist came out, and he just said, "Oh, Carp, well done." And this old Tourist, mid-20s or something like that, is he, or late 20s?
Who?
But I Kyle Tourist.
Oh yeah, Kyle Tourist. Yeah, okay.
So I just like hugged him. I was like, "Thanks, person who's 12 years younger than me." Cheers.
Yeah, but I could see you guys getting on, because when I was thinking about it and like starting this podcast, and so many people in the UK listening, is like, I did really fit in when I went to Cardiff. Like I fit in. Everybody in that arena was my buddy. And it was like that. Now it seems all over the UK that just we mesh, like, and that's why, folks, if you're still listening to this episode, I still don't have a UK sponsor. So if anybody wants to actually pay me money to do this, that would be swell, because I've been putting in a lot of hours in this shed, and it'd be cool to be reimbursed. And there's a fun fact, folks, 500 to 1,000 people are going to listen to this within the next week or so. So if you want your company to sponsor this and everybody to know about it, just let us know. Like the Bayfield Brewing Company here in Ontario. Right?
That's it.
Okay. So GB, you win the 2 golds. So did you play Canada?
Oh,
you're playing music. Are we getting down?
I don't know what's going on.
Is that your ringtone? What is that?
No. 2 seconds.
Oh boy. This is a first for the pod. Feeling it. Mid-pod.
It's the kids. I do not listen to George Michael, by the way.
The kids are playing music and it's popping up on your computer.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're 39 and still an active player, folks. The kids start getting game's changed, eh, with all these clouds.
Yeah, I've not got a clue what I'm doing on here either.
Um, okay. I don't know what else I got other than Richie being named captain is kind of seems like you got like so the core of the GB team. You got you, Bouncy, Richie, O'Connor, Farmer, Myers, and a whole bunch other, right? Like Laco and that Clark that was in Nottingham. A bunch of those guys that really the core of the team that like you guys all just seem like good dudes that like you guys really do love each other and you guys actually kind of can't wait for the season then to play together again, right?
Massively. It is probably the funnest time, if I'm honest. Is
We can
kind
tell
of
you
getting
guys
together
can't
again.
wait. We can tell you guys are sick of us and you want us to go back to Canada so you can play together.
I think it's just everyone's on the same page. I mean, like Bouncy's kind of personality and his sense of humor. Everyone's a bit fucked up like that within the GB team. We're like we're just,
aren't we all?
Yeah, massively. And yeah, I just think I don't know, we're all just kind of the same mold, and it just works. It shouldn't work, but it works.
And you guys all came up together and you guys have been through all this together, right? And it's not like the World Juniors where GB plays a year, moves up, and then the next year it's different 19-year-olds showing up and they're either way worse or way better, right? You guys are together every year and the season ends, it's the same boys, right?
That's it. And I think we learned how to win together with them. There was a few years where we narrowly missed out and got the silver. That kind of prepared us and I suppose turned us into, gave us that experience and kind of knowledge of what to do now.
You guys didn't even get relegated then, eh? How many times you played in the A group now? One or two? I watched this year.
We've done two, but there was no relegation this year. But actually, would we have? I'm not sure if we would have. Maybe because it would have been in Belarus and they couldn't get relegated. So we might have been relegated through default.
Oh, because they were going to host it.
Yeah, get the Brits out.
I think it's awesome that you guys are there and seeing you guys on TSN in the morning when I wake up it just warms my heart. Seriously, it's awesome that you guys are doing it and that like you see Bouncy making the big saves against Canada and the US or whatever and on TSN and you're like, this is fun.
We had that, and then we had one of the IHF social media people or something. They come on the bus the one day, and they went around every person. They just said, just tell the viewers something they don't know about you. So everyone was saying something, and then it got to Matthew, and Mizey said, he was like, I can guarantee you, I'm the only builder in this tournament. So it was, and the woman was kind of like, okay.
And it's because he has a full-time job as well, right, folks? Yeah. He builds homes, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I remember it was an eye-opener for me when I went to the UK League because I had not really prepared myself for the world after hockey. That was kind of the whole journey going to the UK was do the NBA, get prepared. But when you see guys like him, and you see other Brits that were working. I actually saw it in Denmark too. That's when I really realized that I was near the end is when my teammates were working during the day. I don't know where I was going with that. I got sidetracked. Oh, preparing yourself for the real world after though is the NBA and going to Cardiff and the UK. Like it does prepare you, right? And I think every player should head over to the UK and get the NBA if they can. I know they're offering it to better players than me now, but right?
Yeah, there's a lot of them going around now.
So what do you think you'll get into as a 39-year-old? And how many years do you think you got left? I guess you don't know until that summer comes that you don't feel like training.
That's it. I'll just see how it goes. I suppose realistically, a couple more years.
Yeah.
And then at the moment we're doing kind of a bit of protection with Game Plan Financial. So we're selling kind of life insurances and income protections, and we do mortgages and things like that. So just kind of dipping my foot into there and just seeing how that world is. I think
that's where Batchy's with too, right?
He's not with Game Plan, but he's doing. I think he's in the financial sector, isn't he? He's doing.
Game Plan was Gerard Adams, wasn't it?
Yeah, Gerard Adams and a guy called Paul Sample, who used to play probably 10 years ago now. Good friend of mine. But I think I need to be hands-on as well. It'd be something I like to keep a hold of and do. But I think I need to be active. Whether it's like, I don't mind being on a building site digging holes. It really doesn't bother me. It kind of find it fun. I like doing stuff around the house, and so maybe the fire service, something like that.
Well, I think whoever your potential boss will be very happy when he hires you, based off all the info I've got on you in the last couple days preparing for this. Is everybody I asked said you're just the best guy around, and in the real world that translates, man. It doesn't, whether you've just been a hockey player your whole life, if you're a guy that is as a teammate that knows how to help everybody else on the team, how to help them be better, instead of other people in the real world that would like to, I guess, throw people under the bus or don't know how to be a teammate. Like, the hockey world prepares you, right?
Yeah, and I don't think I really realized that until Colton Fretter kind of left and retired, and he said, you'd be amazed of what you could put down on your CV and in interviews, like stories that can relate to the real world. And when you really sit down and think about it, there's so many scenarios that you could use.
Well, it's kind of like for my job, right? I was always running a power play, and I've thought of this as, after a power play, I would review like how I ran it, where guys were standing, where the penalty killers were, what I need to do to be better to hopefully score the next time. And now I run a team, and it's like we do a project, you plan it, you run it, and then you see how it went and where do you improve? How can I make this better? Should the guy be standing over there? Or should he be standing over there? Like, where are the opportunities here? And the real world is really not that much different than running a power play in my world.
That's it. Yeah,
you're still organizing where everybody goes and what they got to do, right?
That's it. It's a different way, isn't it?
And you're the captain, and you're doing the same thing with the whole team. You're holding guys accountable. You're making the culture, right? Like, the captain is a big part of the culture, as well as the guys around you that support you. But that is what the real world is, right? Is you got to have a good culture at work.
Definitely. No, I agree.
Well, I'm not sure if I have anything else for you other than you've been through all this and not really, knock on wood, you haven't had too many big injuries, eh?
No, not too bad. I did my knee a few years back. I tore my MCL the first time, and then it was pretty much a year to the day. It was the first game of the season. The next year, it came off the bone, and so I got screws in my knee and whatever. But other than that, nothing too major. Sports hernias, things like that.
Yeah, you get the mesh put in then or whatever.
Yeah, that was probably the worst one.
It wasn't fun. I had that one too. Yeah, no, you can't do anything for like weeks, right? I got real fat.
Yeah, but I think I got back on the ice after about 4 weeks, but I couldn't skate properly for probably another 6. It was frustrating, really frustrating, that one.
Yeah, no, I let myself go after that one. I remember that. It was at the end of a season, and I wasn't going to play again. And there was like 6 weeks I couldn't do anything, and I was living in Germany, and I let myself go. So you did actually spend a quick moment in Germany, eh, in your career there? Like, you play for the same team your whole career. I did skip over this, and during the pandemic, it forced you to try out a different country for a little bit, eh?
Yeah, it was tough getting jobs, and I was supposed to go to Karlskrona in Sweden, and it just kept getting like held off, and they even had flights arranged for me to go out on the Saturday, and then on the Friday morning they were like, "Oh, we just need 1 more week," because and I understood it, all their restrictions had just changed. So they couldn't afford at that time to bring in another player. They wanted to wait another week just to see. So I was like, that's fine. And then a few days later, there was a chance for me and DeLuca, who I play with in Sheffield, to go to Passau and in Germany 3 there, and it was interesting. It was
Different
very
world
interesting
over there. Yeah, different world.
Yeah, it was unbelievable people. The people who ran the team were fantastic. But we were probably the Edinburgh Capitals of the league. All the guys lived like an hour away in
Hour away from the
Deggendorf.
rink.
Yeah, they were all from Deggendorf, and so there was no one in Passau, just us two. It was the pandemic, so everything was shut down. So there was no gym to go into. You practice in the night, or you'd play games every kind of second, third night.
And your family probably wouldn't have came, eh?
Family couldn't go, no. So that was tough being away from the kids. And then they were going to do the that elite series that they did, the tournament there. That was supposed to go ahead, I think the 4th of January. So our agent mentioned it to the team, and they'd found 2 players, and they were a lot cheaper. They were already in Germany, so they just kind of said, mutually, would you mind going now? And we were like, no, that's fine. Get me home.
Yeah,
Get me home.
I could see that. There's some spots in Germany you can end up that are like really good and healthy and fun to play in, and then there's some places that maybe non-pandemic it's better, maybe not, but there's some places in Germany you don't want to be, and the professionalism goes right out the window. And when I went to the UK, it was such a breath of fresh air that there were so many imports, but then the Brits were just like Canadians, and everybody kind of meshed like you wouldn't believe, right?
That's it. I remember like for practice, we'd come in and they'd say, oh, we got a gym workout, and we're like, okay, where's the gym? Like, it's closed. And it's like, we just gotta run up these steps, and like jumps up the steps. But the steps were, I don't know, there might have been 9 steps. I was like, so if we're gonna do it, let's do it properly. Like, there's 9 steps. You can't. So you have to do that for 15 minutes, and then you have to do 15-minute ladder work. So you can't do the ladder work for 15 minutes. It was just, I don't know, it was strange.
The workouts in Germany can get as weird as it. You wouldn't even imagine the shit I went through, but we won't get into that. I just was curious. I never brought that up. Okay. Last one then. This is the last question, okay? Because I think I skipped this part of your Steelers time too. Was other than the France with your A game boots on, any Champions Hockey League or Continental Cup experiences that you remember, and like anywhere cool you went?
Yeah, we got to see some good places. I'm trying to think which way around it was. It was, I think we went to Frölunda, and then we went straight over to Yip then in Finland, and we just had a unbelievable time in Finland. It was we found like this real cool bar, so it was the first couple of weeks of the season, so it was the perfect team building exercise. We kind of drank there all night, and then there was this little lake, and we all just went to the lake the next day and jumped in and just messed around like kids, so yeah, that was pretty cool place.
Yeah, like I never played in the Champions Hockey League, but getting to travel around to the different countries at the start of a season and kind of bond as a team, I think would be really cool, especially as a UK team. Obviously, everybody's over the moon if you win a game or progress, but it's kind of a lose-lose, like a win-win situation, right? Like you're just going there and you're going to do the best you can, but you're also going to get to experience a lot of stuff UK teams never got to, right?
Massively, yeah, massively. And it kind of sets you up for the beginning of the year too, because you can when you come back from them games, you're playing at such a speed because you've raised your level.
It's like getting called up to the AHL and going back to the coast.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then, but it also, like we talked about briefly, Monday Fun Days or mandatory Mondays, that stuff brings teams together. And I can't imagine what a trip in Champions Hockey League does. if you win a couple games, it would bring teams together like you wouldn't believe. Even if you lose them, like you're still out experiencing the world, having life experiences as like brothers, right?
That's it. Actually, I remember Paul Thompson when we were in Salzburg, and that we played horrendous. We were in Sweden 2 nights before, played really well, and then by the time we got to Salzburg, we were so tired, and it was about 6-0 after the second period, and Tom would kind of turn around and just say, he was like, right, if this period don't improve, no one's going out, and everyone just like turned to me, and they're like, John, sort it out. Sort it out. I'm like, we're going out, boys. It's all right. We're going out.
We're doing the best we can. We're going.
Yeah. It's just Salzburg.
Yeah. And this is a one-time chance.
Yeah.
It's like when you guys beat us 11-0 after we win the Challenge Cup. We had to floor it that night, Sorry, guys, if I was the ringleader. I didn't mean to be, but I think we were all involved. Yeah. No, but the main reason I wanted to have you on, this is a podcast, like when we were playing against each other, I'd never say anything nice to you. And I usually wouldn't. I'd usually chirp you like you're bouncy and all the rest of them. But the reason I wanted to have you on is what I saw you do for Matthew Myers. And from what I had heard about you, and you can just tell when you watch hockey games, who leaders are, the good guys, kind of who the douchebags are too by watching a hockey game. It really doesn't take long. And it's like, actually Simsy told me, is like, you show respect to the guy giving the ticket at the car park, to the owner. Everybody's even, everybody's just a person, and you give everybody respect. And that's kind of like how I am. And I think that's why I can do this. So that's why I wanted to have you on. So way to go.
No, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And hopefully the boys have a good hockey practice here if they already left. And maybe someday we'll see them in the EIHLA.
Hopefully, mate. Yeah. Well, maybe a different sport. Maybe football. Let's get them into some money.
Yeah. There's probably a bit more in that, I'd say. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And I'm just trying to keep the Steelers fans happy because they'll retweet episodes. Cardiff won't, we got to start mixing up the teams here if Cardiff won't retweet. So we're going to get everybody on, folks. Anyways, thank you for coming on. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Jono and Wally.